Previously, most of the content is just plain text, but now with the AI, we're able to generate it into multimedia, into interactive SEO tools. Previously, when I started a company, I need to find a technical co-founder who can code and can build a product for me. But now many of my marketing friends and they all just be able to leverage their knowledge and expertise in marketing and just use AI to build products. Everyone can code, everyone can build a product.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. I'm talking to Chang Chen, who's a marketing B2B leader with several exits and now spends a bunch of time advising companies on growth strategy. The conversation goes into operating tactics, how to lead teams, the importance or lack of importance of choosing tools, and how to adapt in a rapidly and changing environment. She was trained as an engineer, so you're going to hear an analytical mindset, which is fun to hear from a marketer. Chang, thanks so much for joining me to talk today.
Yeah, me too. I'm
Yeah.
super excited to have the conversation and have inspiring thoughts
Yeah, well,
and
I'm
conversations.
really excited to talk about using AI in marketing. I think there's an awful lot of there's obviously like tons of products and tons of noise, and so we'll kind of get into some of that. But I wanted to start a little bit about you. I read your undergraduate training is in chemical engineering. Why marketing?
Yeah, I was a petroleum engineer for 2 years at the Total, which is one of the biggest petroleum company. And I started my own company back then, and my partner is more on the product side, so that very naturally pushed me on the marketing. And I started to learn a lot of marketing, and by taking courses and really by learning on the job. And we were able to grow that company to over several millions the revenue in just 2 years. And with that comparison, like if you are in petroleum company, everything's very slow, and you get a promotion with someone else retired. And while on the other side, that I get to see what I do, changing people's life and changing the business numbers every day. So you get the thrill from all the marketing efforts, and you get to feel the fast-paced iterations. That's when I decided I need to make the change. So I switched from petroleum engineering to marketing like 15 years ago.
So the marketing then was entrepreneurial journey, because when you start a company, you're invariably immediately place yourself in marketing and sales.
Yeah, that's true. That's more on starting a company and how to survive and how to make it grow.
So why did you stay? I guess when you start a company, you do all the jobs in the beginning, but as the company gets bigger or you move on from the company, you get to choose your next thing. You don't have to wear all the hats. Why did you stay down the marketing track?
I stayed down the marketing track since then, but I was helping several other companies, and I was too young back then. And I then got the interest into e-commerce, and I got interested into mobile when the mobile was the new shiny toys on the street. And then now I was also more interested into SaaS and AI, but still all in the marketing vein to help all the different type of company to grow.
Got it. Okay. Well, let's talk about marketing then. So I'll set this first question up, which is, it has always seemed to me that, MarTech is this big category with like tons and tons of products. I think because there's business pressure on like staying on the cutting edge and differentiating in markets. So like everybody's trying to get an edge all the time. So there are all these products and there are all these different techniques. And then historically there's like kind of a high burn rate in terms of like people try something, it doesn't work, or they get tired of it and then they move on to something else. So there's like a lot of retention problems and, a lot of products turning over. Do you see, and my impression is, I'm not in sort of MarTech and marketing, AI. My impression is that's even more the case now. There are like tons and tons of AI products for marketing. Can you just is that impression accurate, or am I misinformed?
Yeah, that the impression is definitely accurate. I think now with all the new AI technology that everyone can code, everyone can build a product. So as a marketer, that previously when I started a company, I need to find a technical co-founder who can code and can build a product for me. But now many of my marketing friends and they all just be able to leverage their knowledge and expertise in marketing and just use AI to build products that will be able to help the other non-marketers, to help the other entrepreneurs to leverage their marketing, to leverage AI and to grow. So now that we definitely see a bloom of all the different new products that's coming out in the MarTech category.
That's fascinating. So let's pull on that for a minute. So do you mean, yeah, right. So historically, marketers have always been starved for engineering resource. And so if you're like a growth marketer and you can get an engineer on your team, this, or like a couple different engineers, like this is a big win. Are you saying that now marketers internally can build apps for themselves to do things? And if so, what kind of apps do you see them building for themselves?
Yeah, so for example, then now that if you need data, that you can actually use AI agent to help you to analyze some of the data. You don't need to know
For
how to
data
write
now, for
SQL.
like marketing
Yeah.
ops type use cases.
Yeah, and also, for example, that for many of the SEO efforts, that previously, if we want to build a like free interactable SEO tool, we actually need engineering resources to help us to build that. But now there are actually you can just use an AI agent, and you should be able to build tons of SEO tools, and that will not only drive traffic, but actually make a business impact, and all without engineering resources.
Do you mean SEO tools like, calculators and things on websites that, interactive marketing things that people can interact with?
Yeah, and also for some of the B2B product, they have like a full and a powerful product that that users need to get a demo and they can and then before they can have the access to it. But the manual company they would take it and build a mini version that users can experience and see how it works in real life on their website to drive awareness and to drive SEO traffic as well. And that type of mini products can also be built without any engineering resources or with AI coding.
That's fascinating. So do you also see this, for digital teams, getting web development is always kind of a struggle as well, either having like a full-time web developer or, kind of getting agencies. Do you find that marketers can use, say, coding assistants or to do website development these days as well, and that burden is alleviated?
Yeah, I'm actually working with the several companies right now that they do prompt to landing page. And then you can do a scaled outreach program, and then you can build one landing page for each one of your prospects just with the prompts. And there's also prompt to whole website. It can be e-commerce website with checkout functionalities, or it can be all kinds of different websites. All you
Prompt
need is
to
just a
landing
prompt.
page. Wow. Okay. That's a big one. So how does that perform? Like, can you give some results? I mean, obviously that would be lower cost, but do you get more performant landing pages doing it that way, or is it just lets you do more and for very, very low cost?
Yeah, so usually they come with two scenarios. One scenario is that if it's a more scaled B2B marketing team, that they might already doing it, meaning that they already have personalized landing page per bigger client. And so they're already enjoying the improve the conversion rate and all that. But by using the AI, they're able to lower the cost. They don't need to they don't need to wait for like a whole week for the developer team to develop things for them, there will be lower cost. Another scenario is for smaller teams that previously they don't have the resource
Yeah.
or they can't afford to hire someone to build the personalized landing pages for them, but now they can. And with that, they're actually seeing really decent number in terms of the improves conversion rate, improve and they're able to reduce their cost, reduce their cost per lead. And that part of it is that previously that tactic is only available if a company are going after really big leads.
Yep.
There are also companies that started to be able to leverage the same technique, but for mid-market or even small and medium business leads. So they were really able to scale up, but they are able to expand their TAM as well.
As I hear you talk, a strategy comes to mind that might be one could so it's democratizing in some way for smaller companies, and one could look at a very large scale team and look at all the types of activities that they do: landing page creation, SEO, keywords, performance ads, and then map that onto an AI product or approach and see how many of those activities you could replicate, or at least do with automation that you just simply could not afford to do before because of the labor intensity or the cost of the tools and products that you would need to do that work. Is that like a reasonable thing to do now?
Yeah. So that has been one of the biggest adoption in terms of AI, to really be able to streamline and to really be able to utilize the existing resources, but able to do more.
Okay. So let's get into that. So we take a 100-person B2B marketing team at a late stage startup or an early IPO company. They got 100 people in B2B. Now I'm running a smaller company. I'm running like a Series A startup or something like that. What are the if you take that list of activities, what are the ones that you've seen that you can just do amazingly well now with AI? Like, what are the ones that are really working well?
Yeah, so far that we are seeing strong success in terms of AI SEO.
SEO, is that
It's
keyword generation, or what part of it?
to be able to scale the content creation
Scale content creation.
more efficiently while maintaining the same high quality.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes that, because that previously most of the content is just plain text, but now with the AI, we're able to generate it into multimedia, into interactive SEO tools. So we are actually having better SEO results by having more rich content instead of just plain text. So we actually started with that when it's before, when I was at Alter, before the AI era. That was still back in like the 2019, that before AI is AI.
Yeah.
And we already started to utilize AI to help us to transcribe like audio and the text into from audio and the video into text, and we're able to do that at scale, in a very programmatic way. Um, Another success that we have been seeing is the content repurposing. I actually have a chart showing like all the combination of the different content repurposing tools and the method that we've been trying. But right now, the technology is always that it works better if we have a richer media, like a long video from YouTube, and you want to repurpose it into something that's a less rich in information. And you can cut into shorter videos, and so that you can share on the other additional social media, or you can turn it into like a LinkedIn blog post and with the text or something. So the content repurposing is really able to help several companies that I work with to expand the reach with the content that they already created. And for one company that we work with, that they started with the linking only with some founders video, because it's more B2B. But we are able to take that content and repurposing on all the different social platforms, and able to 2x their organic leads. And the cost is so low, and they even call it like it feels like a free lead.
Fascinating. And what are the do you just use general purpose tools like ChatGPT and Claude, or are there specific tools that you really like right now that do content repurposing and scaled content generation?
Yeah, it depends. It depends on how the company is set up, and we found that usually the specific tools for each of the content repurposing type of works better, because the prompt and the algorithm is properly tuned. So if you want to write the longer articles, and there are different algorithms and different models that you can tap into than the OpenAI ones, and the different prompting it also have different results. So you can if your marketer, someone from marketing is rather technical, you can directly integrate it with algorithms, or you can use some of the more specific tools. So for example, if you want to have a longer video tool and then you want to create the clips, then you can try Visit, and they have AI to really help you to turn horizontal videos into stacking. If you have two like a talking head, they can stack. And they were able to use the algorithm to pick viral moments, meaning that they learned from so many different viral videos, and they can pick the moments that had potential to go viral to really help you turn longer videos into short with just a few clicks.
Interesting. You mentioned earlier when we were talking about scaled content generation, you said you can keep the quality high. Quality is this sort of underspecified term. It could mean, brand. It could mean personalization to audience. I know it's usually very business specific, but what's the technique for, one of the things I've thought about is, okay, now everybody has these very powerful tools. So usually what happens in technology is the bar goes up on differentiation when basically everybody has the same tool set. So how does one do that? Is that human supervision? It's more data curation, or what's the approach to activating the sentence you said of keeping the quality high?
So for the content quality, this definition varies from different companies, but normally we want to make sure that it's on brand. We want to make sure that we have our unique perspectives, and also want to make sure that make sure that it's helpful to our client. So with those three things, for example, for SEO content creation, we have a 15 steps, but 7 human checkpoints
You have
process.
human checkpoints. I see.
It's the same process as we use writer to create the content. That we first gather all the raw information, like our knowledge, our unique perspective, and some quotes from our clients, and information about our product positioning, product messaging, value, and all that. And we have a human to do the checkpoint that we have enough information gain, we have enough unique perspective to create a piece of content, and then we will use AI to learn it and to write out a outline. When we have the outline, then we'll have the human to check again to make sure the outline makes sense and make sure it includes everything we want to write. And then AI will use the outline and then to learn from our brand tone, brand languages, and to write the article. Then we have a human to check again, and there are a few other checking points afterwards.
And the brand tone and brand, that's all business specific knowledge. Do you, are there tools that you use that store that in a database persistently so you can reuse it? Or do you just, feed it into the prompt every time you generate something new? How does that work?
Yeah, there are several AI SEO tools that have the capability to do that. I also have companies that they have their own database that they build so that they can feed those database to the algorithm every time. Or I also have a very scrappy founder that I work with. They use Notion. And with the Notion AI, you can actually feed a few URLs, and the Notion AI will be able to learn. Or you have them stored in a Notion database, it also will be able to do it.
That's what we do. Yeah, that's exactly what we do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like the tool is not a problem. That there are so many tools out there, and they all can be super helpful.
That's a powerful statement. The tool is not the issue. It's the operationalization of the tool, getting it operationalized and in a workflow that is working is the bit for leaders to really think about.
Yep. Even more the traditional tools like Zapier, and they are the workflow automation, and they all have integration with algorithm. They'll have different writing models, video models, audio models you can integrate with. And if you know what you want to build, it is super easy to build in all the different tools.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about that. It comes to mind there's a parallel in engineering, which is, when you lead an engineering team, you have 10 engineers, they have 10 different perspectives on, which language they want to use. This is like a classic battle in engineering. I want to use Python. I want to use Java. I want to JavaScript, C++, blah, blah, blah. And there's one world in which you just let people do whatever they want to do. Like that's one leadership tactic. That has some obvious side effects. There's another world which is like, the language doesn't matter. Just let's pick a performant language. We're all going to standardize on that. And then we're going to focus on building a product. And the most important thing is building the product and not all like the underlying engineering tooling. Do you find with marketing teams that also is true. I sort of heard what you just said is just pick a tool. Like a lot of them will work for content marketing. The important thing is that how the people choose to consolidate and set up workflows and work together.
Yeah, yeah. At the peak time, my team has over 100 subscriptions, all the different tools, like because they all have different
Yeah,
preferences.
that's the MarTech, sort of, like morass that you have
Explosion,
to,
yeah.
yeah, that you always have to and it's just like too much, and you have all these subscriptions to all this different stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It works when the team is very small. Like, but when you start to get to have like a 10 people, 20 people that in your team, then you will start to think about how you can standardize a different process and you can consolidate a few tools.
What you just said made me think that my observation is that everybody in the world basically has two jobs right now. One is doing their job, and the second is incorporating and learning new tools and techniques as AI advances so rapidly. You obviously work with a lot of companies. Is that perception correct? And what do you see with the teams that are at the cutting edge and are able to learn really fast and iterate really fast as the technology improves?
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to work with teams that they have been pushing me in terms of learning new tools, in terms of learning new technologies every day. I think that's most because most of the companies that I work with, they're already in the AI industry, so they are innovating in terms of AI voice model, and they are creating cutting edge AI MarTech tools. Um, but I also have been working with a few partners that they need more encouragement for the team to adopt AI new technologies. The thing that really works right now is to be able to show that it's here. AI is here to help, and you can save time, and you can say you can do a lot more with you can do a lot more with the budget you have nowadays. And another thing that really works is to by showing them that you can start very small. So, for example, that if you are a media buyer in the company, that you might see that to write 10 different ad copies variants. But you can use AI to be able to help you to write those in just one click. And if you're not happy with them, you can just click again. We'll give you another 10 variants, and then they will never complain.
Yeah. Versus going back to an SEO agency or a graphic designer, you have to do 15 iterations over the course of a week to get to something that's like a semi-compromise, I guess. Yeah. Well, I think that takes, sort of talking about leadership here. That takes me to two quick questions that I like to ask at the end. So a little QQ, if that's all right. Just short answers to these questions.
Sounds good. Let's go.
So the first one is, what's your advice to aspiring leaders for adopting AI?
For adopting AI, I will always start with something small. And I think it's because that right now the AI feels like the shiny new toy, and that there are all the different people talking about all the different applications. So it can feel overwhelmed. But if you start something really small and then you see the tangible changes, and then it will have you to have the positive feedback loop, and then it will encourage you and encourage the whole team to gradually embrace more AI.
And what gets you excited about the future?
I'm super excited for the new models, with the one that can reason, the one that I can start to think for themselves, and I think that will potentially. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm really curious to see what kind of changes that it will bring. A very bold thinking on back of my head. I think it might change the whole purchasing behavior in the future. For some of the small purchasing decisions, it might be able to make by themselves without human interface.
This was fun. Thanks for doing this, Chang.
Yeah, of course, this is fun. This is a great conversation. Thank you. Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you.